But it's like, I've done this several times. The rat house that we used to live in, I went in there when I moved in, and everybody, there was 6 people that lived there, including me, when I moved in. And everybody seemed to just stay in their rooms. Nobody seemed to utilize any of the community areas because none of the community areas made any sense. And when I moved in, I had moved in as a full-time comic, but without a lot of gigs. And my rent was $250 a month. So I didn't need a ton of money. And I was struggling to get gigs. But I was like, I'm doing this. I'm going full-time with this. I'm not getting another job. So I was at the house a lot. And I was just hanging out, having cigars, having weed. I was just hanging out around the house. And I just spent time looking at it. And I go, oh, I could make this so much better. And I did make it better. I organized all the community rooms in the house. So much so that people in the house started to hang out in those community areas. And I was kind of annoyed by it in a way because I was like, oh, I didn't know you guys were going to come out of your rooms. But it did bring us all together. And then as someone would move out, another person would move in, and we created this really nice community house for a while. So much so that I'm still friends with a couple of those guys. Cody, he still comes to my shows at Zany's. I saw Colby. He comes to my shows anytime I'm in Kentucky. Mm-hmm.
We like to drive by that house.
Yeah.
And drive by memory lane. And
I was also living there when I came to your place in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I helped you rearrange some things.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on in here? And I helped you get some stuff rearranged.
Yeah.
And then when I was staying with my friend Danny in L.A. for a week, the first time I went, which is why this was on my mind, I was doing this meeting while I was staying with Danny. Uh-huh. Danny has a roommate, a girl roommate that they seem to get along fine, but they don't really talk to each other. So their living room was just like a mess. And I was talking to Danny and I was like, I want to rearrange this a little bit or whatever. And he goes, oh, don't mess with it. My roommate, she won't like it. And they were both gone. And I go, nah, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I was like, it's just going to make sense.
You rearranged their house without their consent?
Yeah, I rearranged the living room without their consent. And Danny came home and Danny was like, oh, I don't know. I said, listen, if she don't like it, we'll move it back. And what happened? She came in, she goes, oh, this is great. And why did she say it was great? Because it was great. Because it made sense.